leaving them in, I can probably easily go ahead and just hold it down there and be just fine. But once I kind of palpate the ASIS, let me see your hand real quick. Relatively same, okay. So palpate the ASIS from there. I go a half a chun medial to that one, and I just depress that tissue from there. Get a nice depression to there. You can kind of use your hips so someone doesn't roll back on you in that area, or a pillow or something, whatever feels comfortable. Just depress that area there, taking 30mm needle. See, I'm not gonna be able to get much more than a 30 in there. It's gonna be not enough space for it. But depress it.
Going back towards yourself.
What's I'm going in towards the fossa. I'm not going back towards me. I'm going back this way. Achy there. So I'm down to bone there. So for this one, I would go ahead and just do pecking on that fossa and move my hand around a little bit more. Maybe do some winding in that area. You can see I don't want to keep my hand here too long and stim it because that's just going to get very, very tiring. But I would try and do maybe 10-15 seconds of pecking if they can tolerate that. Sometimes they can't and just don't do it. But if I can get like 4 seconds of pecking, maybe 5 or 6 little things in there, and then I just do some winding in that area, whether it's just one direction and then back the other direction again, that's what I'll end up doing, just to reproduce some symptoms, and then I'll back it out and move on for the next one. And since I did some pecking there, I'm gonna grab it. So now from there, now I'm gonna go 1 chun inferior medial, so a little bit lower than what I just was on that one. So I'm still gonna break that needle with my finger, depress the tissue, and kind of go from medial to lateral from there, back towards that bone there. Achy there. And moving that area there around there. So if it's really sensitive, really irritable, I won't do as much of that. That's why I just leave it and just do a little bit of winding. And pull it back out. See? Contraction. Bent that needle. Kind of feeling where that is. And I'm going to go ahead and palpate down and actually find out where pubic symphysis is and kind of draw that line from here to there. So I draw that line all the way down there, so I kind of know about where the inguinal ligament is, because I definitely want to stay below that in a lot of these, okay? So next, if I want to actually palpate and find out where sartorius net is, I'm going to get rid of one of these towels, it's too bulky. There we go, maybe a little bit better. All right, so now, if I want to find out where sartorius is, I can have him kind of slide that leg up there, and it pops out nicely right here, bring it back down. So now we got my sartorius, I got my stomach 31, and I got my spleen 12 spot there. So I can mark that down here for my spleen 12. I find that depression out here again. And once you find out sartorius, you can usually palpate that lateral border pretty well. And you can kind of go ahead and find that stomach 31. And if you did have a tender spot back down in here in that proximal area, you find it, and then that's just where you kind of go for that sheet point. It could be higher, it could be a little bit lower. But these needles should follow a nice line just below that area there too. All right, so from there, I'm gonna go and try and find the femoral artery, which is usually gonna dive deep down in here. And if I can't find it, I'll show you another way to go ahead and, there it is. So I can feel that. A lot of times I'll palpate deep, and then as I go, I'll start lightening up and see where it is. That way I'm not moving the tissues around too much. But I'll palpate that down in this area here. So now I've got my spleen 12 spot, which is going to be lateral to that, and my liver 12 spot, which is going to be medial to that area. So I'm medial to a femoral artery. I'm going to be right down, angling it this way back down towards that pectineus. All right. So if when I first start in the clinic doing this one, this is kind of how I would end up doing it. I kind of make sure I find my sartorius. You can always, once you find that, it's just really get these 2 points, because you can palpate around to find out where the tender spot is, then mark it, and then hit your liver 12 spot there. As far as it going from GB29, ASIS, find a greater stroke canter, another good one to find before. That way, if you really have trouble, you can kind of rotate that hip, because it is a little bit lower than what you think it's going to be. Find out where it is, where it pops out at. So if it pops out right over here, half that distance, somewhere right in here is going to be TFL.
Where's liver 12 again?
Liver 12 is going to be right in between, just medial to the femoral artery.
Sorry.
Yep. Starting off here, I'm gonna grab a 40 for him. For stomach 31. Going perpendicular to the tissues. On that P-A, it's kind of going deep in that area there. You don't have any hip flexor issues at all? Just being a good sport?
No, I feel like I do have some.
Okay.
I run.
All right.
I'm trying.
All right. So Ashi point for the sartorius. P to A here.
Is there a number to that?
It's just an Ashi point for the sartorius.
Just
Yeah, just that tender spot in the proximal aspect of it.
I feel like I have like some anterior stuff going on. But.
We'll see. A lot of times I don't find this one can be. These are the ones that usually are kind of light people up. They have some stuff down in there. All right. All right. So spleen 12 just medial to that, below the inguinal ligament there. A to P, icky there. That's gonna be your distal iliopsoas. All right, now your liver 12 spot. Again, if you need to repalpate, you can repalpate. If you do have trouble finding that and you can't do it, I would just palpate the pubic symphysis and go about 2.5 chun lateral from the pubic symphysis. That should put you somewhere in that same area, okay? So, and I would just palpate down to find that bone, that middle section, 2.5 chun. So I got my 3 chun or my 2 chun. Just kind of need to go a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. And that should put you in that somewhat in that same area where you'll be just medial to the femoral artery. And be safe with that, okay? Give you a somewhat of a guideline. So anterior to posterior, slightly medial, and deep in there. Feels all right there?
Yeah.
Okay. A little achy?
Tough.
Yeah. I probably could have gone a 50 on him. Just be a little nice.
80.
On him, I probably would have ended up using a 50 and a 50. And maybe even a 50 over here because those structures are a little deeper. I would have kept this at a 30 and this one at a 30. All right, so TFL. Going right perpendicular to tissues down there. Not bad there?
Too bad.
Yeah. So that one's pretty superficial, so I don't need to use a big needle anyway. Again, unless you had a lot of adipose tissue, then I would probably want to use a deeper needle for that one. All right, and then stem-wise, I would probably end up just hooking these 2 up and those 2 up. If that one was really sensitive, I would either hook this one up, or I may even add an Ashi point that we did yesterday for the glute min or glute med there. If it's like I want to hook all those up and I want something here too, I'd probably be able to add a couple glute med points in here, glute min points, and add those in there. That's how you can kind of adjust that protocol just a little bit with that one.